And hello, everyone. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. And welcome back to another segment of the Comic Culture Warrior YouTube channel, Comic Conversation. This is where Jose and I talk about different things that go on in comics, whether they be timely or not. And I guess really one of the more timely things that we're going to discuss right now is the end of All-Star Superman with issue number 12 by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. And
I love that cover too.
It's a good cover.
I like it.
I gotta say though, how long did it take for 12 issues to come out?
3 years?
About 3 years for 12
years?
issues. I mean, was it a bi-monthly? I forget. Didn't they shoot for bi-monthly and it just never? They never were.
Yeah, and
even
it kind
able
of
to hit
became
that.
like a quarterly.
A quarterly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read it. We won't. I don't want to get too much into spoilers here, but if you haven't read it yet, maybe you want to skip this segment until you get a chance to. But what'd you think, Jose? I mean, I read it and I was kind of impressed.
Yeah. You know what the problem is with this comic is that it comes out so infrequently,
right?
That I really have to struggle to remember what the hell happened, because a lot of stuff happens in this book, and I just can't sometimes I'm reading, I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
And, I have to actually go through the old issues and read them.
You have to reread a couple issues previous so that
and
you
then
can
I
pick
have
up
to,
on everything.
and then I usually have to reread the current issue again after so I can all right, this is what's going on. Because it's hard to remember, but I don't know, man. I liked it. I thought it was a really awesome story, and I liked the ending a lot.
Oh, no, the ending was good. No, I will say that. It was, although it wasn't quite ending with a bang, though not all, it wasn't a whimper either.
Right.
And this is one of those other typical Grant Morrison stories where he takes all these high concept, metaphysical ideas. He just throws them into the story, just shoehorns them in there. Mm-hmm. In this story, he basically explains the nature of heaven and hell. He talks about, again, we get into the whole thing. If Lex Luthor really wanted to save humanity, he would have done it.
Already. Yeah.
All these different things having to do with Krypton and how the Kryptonians evolved over time. And to me, what I thought was really a very clever reveal where Clark Kent basically outs himself as Superman, mm-hmm. but the very next, and within this very same page, he doubles back and says, no, it wasn't that Clark Kent was Superman, but Superman was disguising himself as Clark Kent. Yeah. And I had to say, that was really clever.
I like that.
That was
I
probably,
like that.
I was going, holy crap, and right there, they just turned it around. I said, now that is probably one of the most original ideas I've seen in a comic book in a while.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I did. It was very good.
But the end, I mean, there's a nice reveal at the end, which is pretty clever. And these last few pages where Superman, again, doing a little bit of a nod to Superman's past, where Superman's powers would change over time. Mm-hmm. And even the story arc when Superman became like an electric being. Remember when he was Electric Superman?
How can we forget?
Yeah. And it's all in here. So, and quite enjoyable, but I'll just say this. This book would go over the heads of at least half the fanboys, I think, out there. Mm-hmm. This is a I don't know, it was like reading, it was like a Herman Hesse novel, when you get through the whole thing.
Yeah, I do want to go, now that it's done, I do want to sit down and read all of them in a row.
Because you can tell he's built up all these little things over time. Mm-hmm. And this will be probably a pretty cool trade.
Yeah, I mean, the first trade's already out, it's the first 6 issues, so...
But when they put everything together, they might do like a 12-issue trade.
They'll probably do an Absolute edition.
An Absolute.
I mean, it's
something
Frank Quietly.
Oh, yeah. So. I am so all over the Absolute edition if it comes out.
I'm sure they will.
And then, running on a sort of a parallel track has been the Superman book that Frank Robinson's been... James Robinson. Thank you. Frank Robinson's a baseball player. James Robinson is writing right now, and which, strangely enough, feels a lot like the Grant Morrison book, because in Superman, Superman's been battling this guy named Atlas.
Yeah.
Which is, similar to a guy that happened in the All-Star Superman. And whenever you put Krypto as your main character, I love it. I'm one of those few people out there who absolutely love Krypto. And the ending to this story was, to me, pitch perfect. Pitch perfect. Krypto basically does what Superman couldn't do in battling Atlas. Battles Atlas to a standstill. And almost gets beat up doing it too. And at the very end, Superman says, if I am your hero, then now Krypto... If I am Metropolis's hero, then now Krypto is Metropolis's dog. He's everyone's dog. And I just loved it. I loved it to death. So kudos to you, Mr. Robinson, for making... For me, was one of the great Krypto stories, because... I will say this: the death of Krypto in Alan Moore's last Superman story, it to me was one of the most difficult things to read. So to see Krypto back front and center here has been a lot of fun for me.
No, I mean I thought it was good. I mean, it's James Robinson's first comic work in a long time, and this wraps up the first story arc. I thought I thought some of the dialogue overall was kind of. I don't know. There's just some of it didn't sit well with me. It's kind of awkward. Yeah. But at the same time, I got used to it pretty quick after 4 issues. It was pretty good.
Well, the one thing I didn't get used to, if there was a negative to the book, is the bouncing between caption and dialogue, and you couldn't tell who was saying what a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Between the caption and a word balloon, and you're inside one character's head, and then that character speaks, and then you're supposed to be in another character's head, but then it segues into what another character is saying. And after a while, I mean, I can tell, Robinson is, trying to get back into his...
I mean, they're laying down a lot of groundwork.
Oh, a lot of groundwork,
for James Robinson's run. I mean, there's so many things in here that obviously they're going to pick up with.
Right.
But I don't know. And then between these two books and Action Comics...
Oh, yeah.
Probably, the best line of comics right now, Superman.
No, Superman, they're
pretty solid.
DC is doing a good job with Superman.
Now, if they can only do that to Batman.
Batman? We'll see. You know what Batman needs? Batman needs to be stripped back down again. He's gotten a little too clunky. They need to strip him back down again.
That's why I like Detective a lot. I like Detective a lot because that's pretty much what that is.
They're stripping him down?
Yeah, they kind of strip him down in there. But the Grant Morrison, I do have to say, for as much as I like Grant Morrison's also Superman, I'm not really digging the Batman Rest in Peace yet.
No,
so.
I haven't been reading it, so I can't comment.
But Superman comics,
which I know annoys you.
Yeah.
But Superman comics, you're saying?
But Superman comics, I mean, right now they're just doing awesome. The stories and just the art and everything as a whole, pretty solid line.
I'll say there's only one thing right now that Superman needs.
And they're slowly trying to incorporate Supergirl into the Superman line.
Right.
So they're all kind of tied in together.
Although the Supergirl book is struggling big time.
Well,
it's just not doing well.
Because they have different writers coming in, and then they just drop old plot lines and bring in new ones, and you don't know what the fuck's going on in that book sometimes. You really don't. So hopefully they'll tighten the reins a little bit and bring that more into the Superman continuity, and just because that Supergirl book's been all over the place since it started, and that's the number one problem with that book.
I think Superman's costume is in need of an update.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I mean, it's a little different in this All-Star Superman. He's got and actually,
they've gone back to the S being really big again. Remember how it would keep getting smaller and smaller, and now it's getting back to practically covering his whole chest again. So,
I know.
I mean, if you can update, Supergirl's costume has gone through all these different.
But I mean, if you notice though, recently they've been drawing him with short trunks, not the actual tights anymore.
Right.
And they started doing that, I think, in Action Comics.
Well, that's here too.
I think they're trying to make it more cohesive. That.
Justice League though, they're back to the traditional.
Yeah, well, Justice League is pretty bad.
Yeah.
That book is just one big mess. Big disappointment.
But
James Robinson is going to come out and do Justice League next year, so maybe he'll clean that book up.
Well, it won't be the traditional Justice League though. It's going to be it's going to be like a Justice League Task Force type.
Well, they like that Justice League Elite book that they did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, but still, Superman All-Star number 12. The regular Superman featuring Krypto. 2 top books that we really liked.
And then I think there's one more part left to the Action Comics Brainiac story.
And the Action Comics Brainiac story, which is coming along nicely. And I can't wait for the new Krypton storyline.
Yeah, that starts right after that Action Comics, yeah.
So, pretty good. And we'll deal with the accusations of us being DC marks over Marvel marks, like was said in a comment.
Oh, really?
Really. We'll talk about that in the next segment.